Following a pretty embarrassing defeat to the LA Clippers, a supposed rival for them, and not to mention the Lakers' first time in the Clippers stadium, and then on top of it, wearing their City Edition jerseys, which in my opinion, simply need to be burned at this point. They never play well in them, pretty much get beat every time in them, and even if they find a way to win while wearing them, they don't play well or look well in them. So again, please burn them, never wear them again this season, and simply move on from them. But apart from that, after the game ended, tensions were a bit high in the locker room, and LeBron did happen to be at the forefront of it. After a question about their margin for error and how the team has been playing lately, he responded with their team not really being good enough, their margin for error being extremely small, and saying they pretty much have to play perfect basketball to win. And I'll let you hear about what he had to say.
You've been telling us that the margin of error is small in this room for a few years now.
Yep.
Are there ways they can get bigger internally?
Bigger or better?
I guess, can you give yourself more margin? Are there things that you can do some nights to make it easier?
No,
That's
how our team is constructed. We don't have room for much error.
How can you guys navigate the sort of mental demands of having to play close to perfect basketball?
We don't have a choice. I mean, that's the way our team is constructed. And we have to play close to perfect basketball. We know the game is never perfect. It's never going to be a 48-minute perfect basketball game, but we can't combat it multiple possessions in a row, or if we turn the ball over, we have to do a better job with that. If we're making like aggressive turnover plays where we're trying to make the right play to our teammates, but it's some of the careless ones, and then defensively we can't have breakdowns. We can't, if our coaching staff has a game plan for us, we can't break down on the game plan.
It's happened for stretches like you guys have had, 3 weeks where you guys have been really, really good. You guys have had 2-week stretches where you guys have been pretty bad. Is that, do you think, because of what we're talking about with,
No.
It's impossible to consistently play near good?
No, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but we just got to keep putting our foot forward and keep working.
Well, that right there would seem to be a statement from LeBron and primarily to the Lakers front office, talking about their team not being where he wants it to be, not being where it needs to be, not only in his opinion, but pretty much the entire fan base's opinion. No, they're not terrible, but they simply don't have enough, even after making one trade, that being for Dorian Finney-Smith, who only played about 22 minutes tonight, and that confused me. Hopefully it'll be more, and they're simply working his way back after having a kid and being away from the team for a bit, but I think we can all agree their team's not where it needs to be, or should be, given their standard and what they're trying to be, what they're trying to set this team up as, and LeBron's definitely hinting at that right here. For once, it really wasn't taken out of context here. LeBron said what he felt, he really wasn't led on by a reporter, and simply told the truth about where their team is currently at, how he feels about it, and where they need to go from here, and kind of making a statement again to their front office about what he wants them to do. That of course being a trade. Now we can speculate about what player or what kind of trade he might want, but simply put, he wants them to make a trade to improve this team going forward. I mean, I'm really not sure how you could take that any other way. He talks about the way the roster is constructed, it not being good enough, and them having to play near perfect basketball to get around that fact. And well, if you're talking about that and having an extremely tiny margin for error, obviously you want there to be a change in your team and for them to add something more to it, and that would have to come through a trade. At this point, there's nothing in free agency that could help them. They have a completely full 15-man roster, so they can't even make a move if they want to, apart from a 2-way contract, which they did earlier last week, but that's not a major move, and something does have to come through a trade for them if they want to make a big change. And I don't know about you guys, but I think change is a word that definitely does need to apply to their team. At this point, they have no team identity, and without an identity, you can't build your foundation. Whether we're talking about offense or defense, they have no real identity. They've started to build one throughout the season, whether that be on offense or defense, but it never really went anywhere for their team. At this point, they are the 13th rated offense and the 24th rated defense, having a negative 2.9 net rating, in the bottom half of the league in net rating and defensive rating, and that's never a good thing or a good sign of a good team, or one with a good team identity to fall back on, which again, I do not believe they have right now. And well, maybe they could build one on defense with a healthy Jared Vanderbilt, combined with Anthony Davis, Max Christie, more Dorian Finney-Smith if and when they would ever choose to play him more and give him a bigger role within the rotation, combined with simply more defensive commitment from their entire team, but that's about the only identity I could maybe see them forming with this current personnel group. Obviously, they didn't even have Dorian Finney-Smith, didn't have a healthy Jared Vanderbilt, and still don't, but maybe soon they will. didn't have a confident Max Christie or one within the rotation in general, with Anthony Davis to pair with all of them, and obviously that could change their team if and when that ever happens and they put that all together, but that's still kind of being hopeful and wishful thinking. Offensively though, I don't see their team having the ability to form a good team identity. I mean, they're not a good 3-point shooting team, they definitely can't go that route. They're average at best 3-point shooting wise, and even with some improvement compared to last season, they definitely can't go that route. And then playmaking, they're okay, they're a bit up and down, in the top half of the league in turnovers per game, even though it doesn't look like that lately. But again, not something they can fall back on, and probably even need one more playmaker or point guard on their team. But again, not something they can fall back on or build their team identity off of. And if anything, they probably need one more point guard or simply playmaker in general, behind LeBron and Austin Reeves, who have really been struggling in that regard lately. Or even for something like shot creation, I don't think that'd be enough of that to build a team identity offensively. I mean, apart from LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Austin Reeves, they have very few shot creators and definitely not something they can build an identity off of either. And well, without having a true team identity, or being extremely well-rounded, very well-balanced, and a put-together team, you're not going to be a top-tier team. And that's what we're currently seeing with their team. They're not that level, they have no team identity, and they really don't have a pathway to getting there. Again, maybe if we're being hopeful, very wishful thinking, a healthy Jared Vanderbilt, maybe with a healthy Christian Wood could change that for them or get them closer to it, maybe not building that for them, but closer to it. However, I think it does have to come to an external move on their team, not something they can build internally at this point, or at least not to get to that top tier level, and LeBron's obviously hinting at that too. We might not all agree on the trade or move they need to make to get to that point, but I think we can all agree they do need to make a move to begin with. Whether it be a smaller, intermediate, or big trade that fits perfectly and does change their team for the better, I think they gotta make it, and they have until the trade deadline to find that player or players to affect their team in that positive way. At the end of the day, it really comes down to what they want to get out of this team and LeBron and Anthony Davis with this team, meaning their front office. What they're willing to do with this team, the additions they're willing to make to it, and how much more help they're willing to give them, because right now they're definitely not at that top tier level. They're probably about at a first round, second round playoff exit at best, and that's if they stay healthy, build more chemistry, and find some kind of identity to fall back on, but even then it won't be enough. And that's what it comes down to for them. Are they willing to go further, go the extra mile, and try to put together a championship level team? Or even try to make one more addition that might help them get there, even if it's not guaranteed, but try to make one or two more additions to it to help them get to that top tier level and simply form a team identity? That's what they gotta find out before the trade deadline. But with that being said, what do you guys think? How do you feel about LeBron's comments, their team right now, and what they need to do to their team to build that team identity and get them to that top tier level? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one, and if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day.